Alright, so Monster Hunter Wilds, let's go ahead and do some arena challenges. Maybe I'm gonna have a chance at some of those new cosmetic items, and nope, definitely not gonna beat any of these. Completely legit and totally not cheated. 17 milliseconds completion timers on the leaderboard, so we're gonna have a new incoming ban wave from Capcom. They also issued a response. We also have a very good Wyverian Bloodstone farming method going on right now for a limited time. And we also have to talk about some of the other data mines that were discussed in the past couple of days. But right now the game has a major problem which pretty much prevents the majority of the player base to get the new cosmetic rewards from the arena challenges. If you take a look at the leaderboard right now, pretty much there are pages upon pages with one-shots over here on literally every single one of the challenges. So every single one of these is so blatant and so obvious that I'm surprised they are still up, and it's been a whole week since Title Update 1 came out and Capcom issued their previous warning, which did absolutely nothing to curb this whole situation. And that wouldn't be an issue if some of these top spots right here were not tied to having a specific cosmetic given to you. There are some cosmetic talismans that are given to the top spots, but now legit players are unable to get them because literally every single one of them has been cheated, to the point that I think that these modders now modify their damage to one-shot everything. So as you can see, every single entry right here is from a PC player. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I am glad that Capcom has such a lax approach to modding and they allow modding to such an extent, but I think that in this particular situation, something has to definitely be done. Now, they did issue this warning right here. They did talk about it in the previous live stream from a few hours ago, so I'm gonna go ahead and play it out for you.
Social post covering that we are taking fair play seriously, and we will be addressing instances of cheating and other nefarious ways of getting illegitimate times. Obviously, this is an ongoing process and it is something we investigate. So if you are seeing suspect times up there that aren't immediately disappearing, it's because there is a process to go through for us. And obviously the rewards aren't being distributed until the end of the quest period. So we do have time to look into it.
Yeah, I think the thing to remember is that our moderation won't be happening in real time. So like people will be able, unfortunately, to record illegitimate scores, but we will be evaluating those after the fact.
So basically the gist of it is that Capcom will analyze and verify every single one of those entries, and only the legit ones will end up getting those cosmetic rewards, as they haven't been going out just yet. That's going to happen at a later date. And in this case, you should rest assured that none of the cheaters should in theory get those rewards in the first place. But I still kind of have my doubts, since this is obviously going to be verified after the fact and there's no real solution to prevent all of this in the first place. But it's not just bad news at the end of this tunnel, we also have some positive ones, and one is specifically relating to the new event quest, which if we don't use for its intended purpose, which are those useless tier 7 art and weapon parts, but instead use it to farm everything in it, it's literally the best Wyverian Bloodstone farming method right now in the game. And that is because if you pay attention to the map in it, there are literally 5 tempered enemies spawned in that mission. And the thing about them is, because there are so many of them, they scale down to the point that literally every single one of them takes less than a minute to take down. But you can easily cause 3 or 4 blue wounds to appear on them, and every single one of them can give anywhere between 8 to 16 Wyverian Bloodstones. So that can really stack up. So that's why in this case I recommend taking the Exploiter's Meal from the Suja cuisine. You can get it very easily. This increases the rewards you receive for fully exploiting a wound. So as you can see, if we pop those blue wounds right here, I have a chance to drop several Bloodstones of different types at the same time, which is actually really good. You can really stack these up, as there are 5 enemies to defeat in the area. Just pick off the map, put a marker to one of them, go to the next, and leave Guardian Tempered Rathalos as the last. Otherwise, you're going to finish the mission quickly. On a similar note, you can go and complete SOS Flares of 6-star quality, and you're going to notice that King of a Faraway Sky pretty much gets spammed over there on repeats. The problem right now is that the majority of the players I've seen don't even know this and just rush to finish the mission, while it's not worth it. You just get the tier 7 art and weapon parts. If you go for the other ones, they are very quick. You can even split out or go together. The bosses die so quickly and give you so many rewards. But on a final note, we also have some interesting extra data mines, specifically on that Raid DAO set that we talked about in the previous video. Like I said before, chances are that this is going to be part of the top meta once it comes out on the 29th. But in the meantime, some data miners found out precisely what bonuses that 3 set piece guts skill gives you. So huge shout out to the folks who actually found this. I'm gonna put some links down below, but basically what you get is when you equip the 3 set bonus, you get a 5% to your attack, a minus 5% to your defense until you get hit with a lethal attack. Once the lethal attack happens, you're going to basically cheat to death, and instead they will be replaced by a 5% bonus defense and a plus 3 raw to all elemental resistance after. So as long as you don't get a lethal attack on the character for that fight, you're going to stay with a plus 5% to your attack power, but at the cost of minus 5% to your defense, which doesn't sound all that bad. However, that 5% attack bonus when you have 200 plus damage weapons can actually be quite high. That is why previously I thought it was plus 10 attack, but that was just because of the weapon that I had equipped. It can go higher than that. It's 5% bonus attack, which may or may not make up for the 4-piece Gormagala in this case, and you can definitely go with different combinations of these. So it's not just the 3-piece Raid DAO Gamma plus 2 set Gormagala going with the waist and the legs as we usually did. You can also go with 4 set Raid DAO and make combinations, for example, with the Jinda Had armors, or in this case even the new Zoshia, and kind of get everything in there. So the reason why the 4 set Raid DAO, not just the 3 set Raid DAO, may be actually better or pulling out ahead in certain situations is because it massively buffs the latent power skill, and latent power gives you like 50% affinity at level 5 and 50% less stamina depletion, but you have to take about 125 or 130 damage or wait for 2 minutes. However, if you do have the Raid DAO 4 set bonus, that's going to extend that latent power duration from 2 minutes to about 3 minutes and 30 seconds. It literally has plus 90 seconds extra at the level 2 if you go with the 4 set piece. If you only go with the 2 set piece, it's only going to give you like 30 seconds. So obviously having a full on minute of latent power, so full 50% of that extra affinity, can be quite big. It means that you're going to have a very generous uptime and a very generous bonus to your affinity to make up for the fact that you're losing for the easier to apply 25% affinity that you normally get from the 2 or the 4 set Gormagala. So at this point, Raid DAO, if the theory crafting is correct, may pull out ahead in terms of affinity or average affinity over the course of a whole fight. I'm not so sure how that's going to fare in a longer fight such as the one against the Zoshia, but against shorter fights like anything up until Tempered Argveld, you're going to only have like 5 minutes fights going on over there, so pretty much having like 3 minutes and 30 seconds of that with the latent power active, that's actually going to be a very good uptime on it. And that is before you actually take into account that besides all of that, you have the latent power 5, you get maximum might, you get agitator, you can get even some weakness exploit, still have room for burst, still have room for counter strike, and even evade extender and stamina surge and all of those compared to the old Gormagalas that only gave us like a portion of these. So that can definitely be really good. The only problem is, well, latent power doesn't refresh while it's still active. So let's say, for example, you have, I don't know, 10 or 5 seconds left of active latent power, and you do meet the requirements of getting another 130 damage done on your character. Well, guess what? That's not going to refresh the timer. You have to wait for it to actually expire and then wait another 2 minutes or get another 130 damage on your character dealt to activate the next batch of latent power. So no, it doesn't work like, for example, in the case of Critical Strike, which does actually refresh while it's still active. Plus, it may not be as easy to apply as it is the case with the Gormagala Frenzy plus Antivirus, which only requires you to attack. But unless you're a speedrunner, chances are that you are going to get 125 or 130 extra damage done in the course of a full-blown fight, especially if you're fighting against Zoshia, even if you are a good player. I mean, the majority of us will definitely be in that situation. So in this case, the uptime on that may make up for it. Some of the calculations here show that this setup would be ahead a little bit in terms of average affinity over the course of a fight compared to the even 4-piece Gormagala. So yeah, we're gonna wait and see up until the 29th when we get that arch-tempered encounter. In the meantime, this has been pretty much it. Thanks much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.